They received more than 600,000 files, including 700 hours of video. They say it's going to take them at least 60 days just for an initial review of this evidence. The courts are expecting to hold a preliminary hearing for Robinson starting May 18th, but his team doesn't think that's enough time. They're asking for the date to be pushed back and for the state to hand over the remaining evidence that has yet to be passed on, including some forensic evidence. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
We will talk to KSL's legal analyst, Greg Skordas, to get more perspective on this coming up at 12:15. It's time for the cool down. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we broke more heat records on Sunday, but a change is on the way.
Today is our last day of warm, dry weather. Enjoy it. Mid-70s. Some of us could hit records. Now you move into Tuesday evening to Wednesday and Thursday. I got rain chances quite elevated. Yes, and cooler temperatures dropping into the 40s by Friday afternoon.
Matt says upper elevations will see some snow during this week's storm. U.S. Forest Service sector that serves Uinta, Wasatch, and Cache counties has some planned fires this week. The slash piles will be lit in South Willow Canyon, about 6 miles southwest of Grantsville. And don't panic if you see any smoke in the area on Wednesday. Several Utah counties want to help prepare Utahns for fire season. Utah Summit and Wasatch HOAs are holding a wildfire preparedness fair next month. Wildfire experts and vendors who can assist homeowners in fire safety will be there, as well as panelists to teach younger generations about the importance of fire sense. KSL's top national stories. The Iranian war isn't stopping anytime soon. More U.S. Marines have arrived, and President Trump is suggesting the U.S. could try to take control of the oil-rich Iranian island known as Karg Island. ABC's Shannon Kingston has more on the timeline of the war and what the Trump administration has said to some U.S. allies.
That 2 to 4 week timeline is the one Secretary Rubio set in a closed-door meeting with G7 allies at the end of last week. But the Pentagon does appear to be preparing for a much longer operation. We do know that 3,500 sailors and Marines are arriving in the region now, but the Pentagon has also deployed another unit of Marines. That group is not set to arrive until May.
Secretary Rubio tells Good Morning America it's important to remember what the objectives of the war have been from the beginning.
We are destroying Iran's navy. We are destroying their ability to their missile launchers by a significant percentage. We're going to wipe out their defense industrial base, meaning their ability to make new missiles and new drones in the future, because it poses a great threat to the region. This Iran that you're seeing now, this is Iran at its weakest point. Imagine them 2 years from now if they had thousands of more missiles, thousands of more missile launchers and factories to make even more. That was an unacceptable risk. It needed to be addressed, and President Trump is addressing it.
Rubio says he's hopeful the talks will make some progress. Israel is also targeting Lebanon and says the Iranian-backed Hezbollah is a threat. Iran, in coordination with Hezbollah, struck an oil refinery in Israel overnight. More on that from ABC's Britt Clennett.
That comes as 5 soldiers have been killed so far, Israeli soldiers, including an Israeli-American, at least 4 Israeli civilians. Meanwhile, the Lebanese death toll, it is mounting. 1,238 killed, more than 1 million displaced. That's a fifth of the population.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the military operation will ramp up. A Washington County Sheriff's deputy initiated a traffic stop and seized more than 14 pounds of fentanyl. That's an estimated 3.5 million lethal doses. A deputy searched the car and found the drugs wrapped in multiple layers of tape, liquid paints, and sealed in plastic. Christian Aspuro Silva told the deputy he didn't know the packages were drugs. He was just told to drive to Colorado. He was arrested and is being held without bail. The Salt Lake City FBI says the search ended in a massive drug bust, but one former agent says this may not be the victory that we think it is. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has that story.
The Wasatch Narcotics Strike Force says they seized 240,000 fentanyl pills in one go, tucked inside boxed up furniture. That's enough to give every single resident of Salt Lake City one pill and still have over 20,000 left. You'd think this is a crushing blow to the drug trade. However, former FBI agent Greg Rogers says this is barely a glancing blow. He says the only way to fight the drug trade is education.
Parents need to spend a whole lot of time talking to their kids about this stuff and telling them how dangerous it is and really using their influence, because fentanyl, one mistake is all it takes.
Rogers says as long as the business remains profitable, cartels will continue to make drugs. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Maria. We have maintenance going on southbound I-15 at the 123rd South off-ramp. That is blocking the left lane, so you'll want to use some caution as you navigate that exit ramp. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's retrofit and renovate old buildings before it's too late. 45 water pipes and power lines to keep things flowing and get back online. EIGONE. Let's work together to get ready. We don't have to be scared. Visit earthquakes.utah.gov to prepare.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, Tyler Robinson's team is asking to push back his court date, saying there is not enough evidence, or not enough time rather, to go through evidence and his history. Robinson is accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk. KSL News Time, 12:07. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. TSA officers say they're beginning to see back pay appearing in their bank accounts for the first time in more than 40 days. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Pascual Contreras is a TSA officer in Phoenix. He, like many of his colleagues, had been calling out sick after weeks of not getting paid. He says he'll be returning to work tomorrow now that his back pay has appeared in his bank account, but he says the damage has already been done.
There's a lot of uncertainty, and we have lost a lot of good officers, unfortunately.
Also, what's unclear is if the president's order for TSA officers to get back pay will also include future pay until there's a deal, or if it will just be the lump sum of back pay for now. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A motorcycle rider is in the hospital after a crash that shut down I-15 near the point of the mountain. It happened yesterday, and witnesses told the Highway Patrol the man was driving recklessly through traffic before his bike went down and he hit the back of a car. Troopers did say the man was wearing a helmet. The road was shut down so a medical helicopter could land. Ogden police are investigating an accident that killed 2 young boys. Police say a 14-year-old was driving a stolen car and trying to evade officers when he hit a family riding in another car.
My cousin was out on a Friday afternoon with his kids, with his wife, enjoying the weather, enjoying a soccer game.
Jessica Pandoja is pleading with people to think about their choices because actions can change the life of a family in seconds. Police are not releasing much information about the accident because of the scope and complexity of the investigation. A man has been arrested in Draper after police say he shot at a car as part of a road rage incident. 53-year-old John Orvis told police he pulled up next to a car and stared at the driver, making them uncomfortable to the point of fleeing. Orvis then chased the car from the highway onto surface streets, causing another vehicle to stop for fear of being hit. Police say Orvis then exited his truck, pulled out a gun, and shot at the door of the stopped vehicle, hitting a woman inside with a small piece of shrapnel. Orvis claimed to have not been in any sort of confrontation and said voices in the music coming from his radio had led him to Draper. He was booked on felony charges. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Michelle, what's happening?
The freeway's running really smoothly, Maria, all the way from northern Utah down to the middle of the state or even beyond. Where I'm seeing an issue is, again, this maintenance. This is southbound I-15 at the off-ramp at 123rd South. It is blocking the left lane, so they do have some cones up in that Gore area. Also, there's either maintenance vehicles or a crash that is in Lehigh. This is northbound as you're approaching Lehigh's Main Street. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, we've got some partly cloudy skies today with a high of 74. At times it will be full-on overcast. Overnight we'll go to 50 degrees, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, 65 degrees, increasing clouds, and then increasing showers Tuesday evening. Wednesday, I got another round of showers possible, high of 60. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 70 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, we will talk to KSL's legal analyst, Greg Skordas, about Tyler Robinson's team's request and why they want more time in his case. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Just think about how much better you will look and how much better you will feel if you take off those extra pounds that you're carrying around. That's the number of days Salt Lake City Fat Loss puts you on a program. It's a 60-day program. And, most people just are rejecting weight loss programs because they say, hey, you know what, I've done this and I've gained the weight back. But I want you to know that Salt Lake City Fat Loss is different. I've lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. They're different because this is a doctor-developed program. It's an all-natural program, and it teaches you, I should say, how to keep that weight off for good. They have a great app. It helps keep you accountable. It gives you great resources. You can check in with a nutritionist anytime that you'd like and ask any questions. It's a program that most of their clients lose 20 to 40 pounds in that 60 days, and it's just using real food from the grocery store. Find out if you really are eligible for this program at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Don't wait. Just think how great you're going to look and feel in 60 days. slcfatloss.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply? Raising prices cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to mypatriotsupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust mypatriotsupply.com. Go to mypatriotsupply.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-551-7672.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-551-7672. That's 800-551-7672.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
attorneys for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk are asking to push back Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing, saying the state hasn't given them the necessary evidence to prepare for the May court date. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, the Utah State men's basketball team has found another new head coach. It is their 5th head coach in 5 years. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
We have a fresh crash in Summit County. This is Silver Summit Parkway. This is eastbound Highway 40. The left lane is blocked. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Dry and mild today, then a pattern change. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, a few clouds in downtown Salt Lake City and 70 degrees. At the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News.
I'm Mike Dubusky. There remains a lack of clarity around how long the war in Iran will continue. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has indicated it may only take a few more weeks, but it comes against the backdrop of a major troop buildup. More from ABC's Shannon Kingston.
That 2 to 4 week timeline is the one Secretary Rubio set in a closed-door meeting with G7 allies at the end of last week. But the Pentagon does appear to be preparing for a much longer operation. We do know that 3,500 sailors and Marines are arriving in the region now, but the Pentagon has also deployed another unit of Marines. That group is not set to arrive until May.
The fighting in Iran also having a big impact on gas prices here at home, says Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan.
If there's a wrinkle anywhere in that global supply chain, there is right now in the Strait of Hormuz through the de facto closure, it's having a huge impact on the global price of oil, and nobody can escape that globally determined balance of supply and demand, that price.
The national average now sits just below $4 a gallon on average, according to Gas Buddy. TSA workers are starting to receive partial back pay today after weeks on the job without paychecks because of that ongoing partial government shutdown. President Trump signed a memorandum to that effect last Friday, hoping that resuming their pay will cut down on those long lines at airports.
45 days into this partial government shutdown, and Congress has left town for 2 weeks. I've talked to Democrats and Republicans. Right now, there are no plans for lawmakers to return back here to Washington to address this. This has now become the longest shutdown in American history. The president has taken action to pay those TSA workers, but that is only a temporary fix.
ABC's Rachel Scott, a 15-year-old, is dead after shooting a teacher at a prep school in Texas. The student was pronounced dead at the scene. The teacher was taken to the hospital. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The legal team for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, is now asking the courts to push back his preliminary hearing. Joining me now live in studio to talk about this new filing is KSL's legal analyst Greg Skordas, who is also the co-host of Inside Sources. So, Greg, first of all, talk about why they need this to be pushed back.
Well, they've stated a number of reasons, Maria, not the least of which is just the voluminous amount of evidence that they've had to go through. And they cited some stats, and I'm reading their motion right now. They've received 20,000 files, including 61,500 pages. The audio files are 31 hours in length, 5,000 video files that are 700 hours worth, and that they're expecting some 600,000 files altogether. So what they're saying is, look, we've got a preliminary hearing set in May. There is no way we're going to be able to get through all of this information before then. And by the way, you only get one preliminary hearing in Utah. You can't just keep asking for more and more and more. So if you're a defense attorney, you want to make sure you have everything lined out, you have all the information together, and you're prepared for your one-shot preliminary hearing. And they're not asking for a significant amount of time. They're just saying there's no way we can be ready by the May preliminary hearing date.
So how normal is it for attorneys to have this much data from discovery?
I've done some big conspiracy cases and some big, gang cases, organized crime cases where you have a lot. This is a homicide case with one individual charged. So in that sense, Maria, it is very unusual that you'd have this much information. But if you recall, there was something like 3,500 people that were at the event, and so I'm sure they interviewed every one of them, or as many as they could, and they may each have their own statements, and I think the defense wants to go make sure that they've gone through every one of those. So yeah, it's a lot more than you would expect, but it's not an inappropriate amount.
It sounds like the judge will probably grant this for them. And what do you expect to happen?
Almost certainly. And they state a couple of things in that regard. They said this is the first time we've asked for a continuance. It's never been asked before. And we don't want to have ourselves as defense attorneys challenged. And they're really saying if we can even have 60 days. So they're not asking for a year or something like that. And by the way, their client's in custody, so there's no harm to the public. So what they're saying is we've never asked for it before. There's a lot of information. Give us 60 days, and then we'll come back. And if we're ready, then we'll set a preliminary hearing.
All right, Greg, what's the next step?
Well, the judge will rule on this pretty shortly, I assume, because even the state wants to know if they've got to get everything together for a preliminary hearing, which could be a day or two or three, maybe even a week. So I think the judge will probably ask the state to respond to this motion, which was just filed, probably give them a week to do that. bring everybody together in about 2 or 3 weeks and rule on this motion.
All right, thanks so much. That is KSL's legal analyst, Greg Skordas. Let's get you up to date on traffic and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
Again, the freeway is flowing smoothly, Maria. We're looking at good speeds. We do have this maintenance, though. This is for drivers that are making way southbound into the Draper area. They do have the Gore area blocked off to do some maintenance at 123rd South, and that left lane exit ramp or exit lane is closed at the moment. Also, still looking at some either maintenance vehicles or leftovers from a crash earlier. This is northbound I-15 in the Lehigh area. It is as you're approaching Lehigh's Main Street, and it's on the right shoulder. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now at S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, starting out with more near record warmth today, then a pattern change. Partly cloudy today with a high of 74. It'll drop down to 65 tomorrow. Mostly cloudy and a chance for showers Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. 60 degrees is all you get for Wednesday afternoon with scattered showers possible. 54, maybe some more rain possible on Thursday, lingering into early Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, we could be talking about a high of only 49 degrees. We go for 60s as we head into Easter weekend with dry skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City and 51 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets at this hour. The Dow is up by more than 100 points, but the NASDAQ is down by that much. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is. But get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
KSL News Time, 1224. Disneyland Paris has a cold open, revealing the brand new Frozen Land. The park is also getting a new name. Walt Disney Studios Park is now Disney Adventure World.
Let it go, let it go.
It's the biggest expansion in the resort's 34 years. Guests will now be able to ride Frozen Ever After, meet Anna and Elsa, and see all the new Arendelle features. Watching Utah's Money. The Coca-Cola bottles with yellow caps are not just a seasonal or festive new look, they're actually an identifier. Fox Business reports those yellow caps mean that they're kosher and can be used to celebrate Passover. They're made with cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. Coffee prices aren't coming down anytime soon. The average price of a pound of roasted beans is almost $9.50. Some factors driving up the prices include tariffs, crop failures, and the war with Iran. Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly has struck a deal with Hong Kong-based company, and the goal is to release drugs developed with AI to the global market. Company in Silico has already developed at least 28 drugs using AI tools. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 133 points, sitting at 45,300. S&P down by 16. The NASDAQ down by 133 points. 12 tons of Kit Kats have been stolen.
That's 413,793 candy bars. Nestle says that they were sitting in a trailer at a production facility in Italy when the shipment was taken. They were supposed to go to Poland. A spokesperson for the candy maker says the candy has batch numbers, and that should be able to allow consumers, retailers, and wholesalers to identify if they were the stolen batch. Kit Kat also released a statement saying, "We've always encouraged people to take a break with Kit Kat, but it seems thieves have taken the message too literally and made a break with more than 12 tons of our chocolate." Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
If you have student loans, don't miss out on the student loan interest deduction. Here's the good news right up front. You don't have to itemize to claim it. If you paid interest on student loans in 2025, you may be able to deduct up to $2,500 on your federal tax return you'll file this year. That applies to loans for your own education, and in some cases, loans you're legally responsible for, like Parent Plus loans. What surprises people is how this deduction works. It's considered an above the line, meaning it reduces your taxable income before your tax bracket is even calculated. There are income tax limits, and the benefit phases out as income rises.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. What's going on, Michelle?
Still looking good out there, Maria. Seeing just a little bit of congestion at the moment, right at 123rd southbound I-15 exit. They're bringing in another maintenance vehicle to work on this emergency maintenance. Again, that left lane is blocked if you're headed off the off-ramp. Now, if you're headed on Bangerter Highway, we're seeing some pretty good speeds there. Just a little bit of slowing right around the 201 freeway. Create your floral sanctuary with Olson's Greenhouse. Locally grown, premium quality flowers, the perfect complement to any space. Cheerful flowers for porches, patios, containers, and beds. Visit Olson's Instagram or ogg.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, talking about a combination of sunshine and clouds today. Highs will top out in the mid-70s, flirting with records again. Overnight, 50 degrees. Increased cloud cover tomorrow with a chance for showers late Tuesday. High of 65. I got more showers in the forecast on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. Human remains have been found in the mountains above Springville, and now investigators are working to identify them. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera looks at what this kind of discovery can mean for families that are still searching for answers. Eric?
Maria, for some families, this kind of discovery can change everything. It could bring long-awaited answers or force them to face a reality they've been hoping to avoid. Brock Best with Utah Homicide Survivors says every case is different, but the emotional impact can hit immediately.
I know we have some families that would love to get a call like that, and others, it can act as a form of re-traumatization. You then become part of a club that no one wants to be a member of.
He says for families still searching, even the possibility of a match can bring overwhelming anxiety in that time between discovery and identification. Deputies say the remains were found by someone riding a horse in a remote area above Springville, and the investigation is ongoing. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Nearly a third of inmates housed in jails in Salt Lake County were actively experiencing homelessness. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce has an update on the jail population.
We're getting a look at these updated numbers from a briefing that's been prepared for the Salt Lake County Council, which meets tomorrow. In it, Sheriff Rosie Rivera notes the homeless population inside Salt Lake County jail facilities currently sits at 31.7%. That's nearly 700 people. And it's an increase of about 100 people from a year ago, spurred on in part because of legislation that ended the practice of releasing people due to overcrowding. Salt Lake County is looking into ways to finance expanding the Metro Jail, which could include property tax increases in the future. Voters rejected a proposal to do so in 2024. Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
The Washington County Sheriff announced a sudden resignation and retirement. Nate Brooksby has resigned and says he's retiring. A statement on the department's Facebook page says Sheriff Nate Brooksby has served in law enforcement for over 30 years, and they express their sincere appreciation for his dedication and service to the county. But the statement doesn't go over reasons for the resignation. Under Sheriff Barry Golding will become the acting sheriff until the vacancy is filled. Thousands of Utahns took part in No Kings protests this weekend. Jamie Carter, the logistics coordinator for the protesters here in Utah, says safety was extremely important this year. It was the first No Kings protest held since Afa Alu was shot and killed last year at one in Salt Lake City.
So now we've actually implemented a major safety and de-escalation plan. Anybody who volunteers for that team goes to in-person training.
Carter says her team was not directly involved in the incident last year, but they did learn some hard lessons from it. KSL's top national stories. Oil prices are sitting over $100 a barrel, and gas prices continue to rise. ABC's Alex Stone has the latest numbers.
With oil prices going up, Gas Buddy reports a national average for regular unleaded is $3.96 a gallon today, up 98 cents a gallon from last month. And $3.96 a gallon would be cheap in California, where many drivers are now paying over $6 a gallon. The average now in California is nearing that amount. With just a 15-gallon tank, that is $90 every fill-up for regular unleaded.
Gas prices are being hit hard, but the U.S. only gets about 20% of its oil from imports that go through the Strait of Hormuz. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells ABC News the oil market is integrated and global, so any disruption to the market affects gas prices in the U.S.
The global oil market really doesn't care where the oil is coming from. It cares about the total balance of crude oil. And so, if you take, again, 20% of the world's oil is stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, it doesn't care where it comes from because oil can be moved so much around the world. That's why global prices react.
The average price per gallon here in Utah is sitting at $4.17. The war with Iran continues to heavily impact the markets. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman spoke with an expert.
I think the corrections have been made in the market. A little more volatility.
That's certified financial planner with DMBA Shane Stewart. He says that a lot of the changes we've seen have to do with the price of oil climbing up and up. Now both the Dow and the S&P have fallen into correction, which means they've fallen about 10% from their highs back down to earth. But Stewart says don't panic.
The good news for all of this is, however, that the markets have been up. So it's something that, even though the markets are coming down off their highs, they haven't gone into significantly low territory quite yet.
He says not to be too reactionary, but have a spending plan in place because we might see war impacts on the markets for a while. Reagan Edelman, KSL News Radio.
Time now for First Look Traffic. Michelle?
The delays on Pioneer Crossing headed eastbound toward I-15 aren't as bad as they have been, but there's still some slowdowns there due to lane restrictions. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Ever drive through the neighborhood and your spouse points out the window and says, "How come our lawn doesn't look like that one?" You know the house. The one with the thick, deep green lawn that makes the rest of the neighborhood look like an afterthought. That's no mystery. That's a big league lawn. It's the professional, lush green lawn you shouldn't have to spend your weekends fighting for. Big League Lawns. Get the lawn your neighbors talk about and go home to a Big League lawn.
Mosquito season in Utah? It's here. And it's hungry. Before the swatting starts and the kids run inside, call Skeeter Eater. Our mosquito service doesn't stink, doesn't stick, and actually works. We're a Utah company with family-friendly treatments built to help you enjoy your yard without the bug sprays, candles, or chaos. Get $40 off your first treatment now at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites, start the fun.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top stories. Support groups for families whose family member was a victim of homicide say anytime human remains are found, it can be really tough news to hear. KSL News Time, 12:37. Resort goers can expect an expanded and upgraded Nordic Valley ski resort in the next few years. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez has the details.
The resort received approval to expand into a Four Seasons destination. Expected to begin in 2027, the project will add 400 condos, 150 chalets, 200 hotel rooms, and employee housing. They are also adding 12 gondolas, a mountain coaster, and a zip line.
So you're going to have a lot more opportunities there in terms of winter sports, but also be a destination in the spring, summer, and fall.
That was Sean Tigan with the Utah Foundation, who is helping the resort conduct research on how this will affect the local economy. He says the development will contribute over 1,300 Utah jobs. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
The Final Four is set in the men's NCAA tournament. UConn pulled off an improbable comeback against Duke after being down by 19 points and hitting a three-point shot to take the lead with less than a second left. The Huskies will face Illinois on one side of the bracket. On the other side, Michigan will face Arizona. Both games will be played on Saturday. Utah State men's basketball team has reportedly found their next head coach again. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
The Aggies are reportedly hiring Ben Jacobson, who spent the last 20 years as Northern Iowa's head coach. During his tenure, he led the Panthers to the NCAA tournament 5 times and got them all the way to the Sweet 16 in 2009. Though his team this year was not so fortunate, getting blown out by St. John's in the first round. Jacobson said after the game,
"Our opponent today said, they're really good. Right? We knew that coming in, but it doesn't change that we earned our way here.
Jacobson set to become Utah State's 5th head coach just since the 2020-2021 season. The Aggies are hoping they can keep him around a little bit longer. According to reports, he's signing a 5-year deal to come to Logan. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Again, I-15 running smoothly across the whole Wasatch Front corridor. Still seeing a little bit of slowing, though, as you're approaching southbound I-15 at 123rd South exit. This is due to some maintenance that they're doing. It is blocking the left exit lane, so you want to use a little bit of caution as you're navigating through that area. Also still working on a possible crash or maintenance vehicles. This is northbound I-15 as you're approaching Lehigh's Main Street, and that is on the right shoulder. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's looking like another gorgeous spring-like afternoon. Look for highs topping in the mid-70s. Some of us could set record warm highs. Partly cloudy to mostly cloudy at times. We'll go 50 overnight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, 65, mostly cloudy, with showers working in late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, high of only 60 degrees and a slight chance for some showers. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, but already 72 degrees. Coming up on Midday, we'll take a look at the trends among singers and what the tours are starting to look like. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
I didn't realize how bad my windows were until I replaced them. You think your house is fine, and then you sit by a new high-performance window, and suddenly you're not freezing in the winter or baking in the summer. Peach Windows and Doors showed me the difference between builder-grade windows and real performance windows. The glass packages, the seals, the insulation, it's not even close. And here's the part I love. It completely changes the look of the house. Cleaner lines, bigger glass, more light. It instantly feels upgraded. Whether you're building $1 million home or you want yours to look like one, windows matter more than you think. Lower energy bills, more comfort, massive curb appeal. Go see the difference for yourself at peachdoorsandwindows.com or visit their showroom. Trust me, once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. peachdoorsandwindows.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
KSL News Time 1245, the 3 things you need to know this hour. First, A new number shows the homeless population account for about a third of the population at the Salt Lake County Jail. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
Still working on maintenance. This is southbound I-15 at the 123rd South exit in Draper. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Very mild today, highs in the 70s, but then a chance for rain tomorrow night. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Mike DeBusky. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the Trump administration is sticking by its timeline to wind down the war in Iran, speaking at a press briefing moments ago.
The president, commander-in-chief, the Pentagon has always stated 4 to 6 weeks estimated timeline for Operation Epic Fury. We're on day 30 today. So again, you do the math.
But Iran's government says they haven't yet sat down for peace talks with U.S. officials, and earlier today called American proposals to end the war unrealistic and illogical. ABC's Matt Rivers is in Doha.
Pakistan foreign minister says that he expects the U.S. and Iran to meet for talks, quote, in the coming days. But frankly, we heard that kind of optimism last week, and it went nowhere. So what an off-ramp for this war looks like remains very much unclear.
Meanwhile, the partial government shutdown, now the longest in U.S. history. Today, in accordance with a presidential memorandum, TSA staff began receiving partial back pay. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Pop singer and former One Direction member Harry Styles is doing a much smaller tour and mini residency. It's a format that we're seeing more often among artists. ABC's Will Gans has more.
Recently, several stars have announced similar plans, longer stints, one city at a time. Most of these are in Las Vegas.
Residencies this year include the Backstreet Boys, J-Lo, No Doubt.
And to hear musicians and tour managers explain it makes total sense.
He explained why he's doing a different style of tour when he was talking to Zane Lowe from Apple Music.
You can build something that doesn't have to travel every night. I think the show itself is better.
So instead of paying the guys to break down the set every single night and drive from Kansas City to Dallas, instead, you're keeping your set.
Now, in theory, that sounds great, right? The artist is more rested, their sets are better, there's not a new sound check to do every day. The fan experience should be better. But for which fans? Will says think about it. In a normal concert, you pay that ticket price, and the artist does the rest. They rent the bus, they haul the equipment, they feed the roadies, and come to your backyard. Well, now these artists are telling fans, I'm not coming to you. You can come to me.
It really does defer the cost in a lot of ways to the fans who maybe, wouldn't be paying as much if this was a more traditional style tour.
The effect of that could be a stratification of fans. The folks who listen to artists but never get to see them in person, and the super fans who shell out to travel to Vegas or London or New York. For those fans, it will be a premium show. In fact, Harry's, as they're known, are already turning this into an excuse for a road trip.
You might see Harry Styles superfans who are going to split a hotel room, maybe sleep 8 people to a bed or whatever they need to do because
there will be a tour bus, just not with Harry Styles in the band. There'll be a tour bus of fans.
That's exactly right. And that is where the community of fans really shines.
But this is exactly the point. Music thrives on its hardcore fans, whoever they are. What would the Grateful Dead be without their most adoring Deadheads? The Insane Clown Posse without their Juggalos? It's one thing to go on a road trip to different fairgrounds and amphitheaters. It's another to pay for tickets to the Sphere over and over. These newer venues were built at extraordinary cost. Just because fans are now paying their own way doesn't mean ticket prices are going down. Will says only the biggest stars will be able to guarantee to venues they can sell out these places night after night. But for now, this model increasingly appears to be the future. The bigger your favorite act gets, the less likely they are to hit the road.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Again, if you're headed southbound I-15, they do have ongoing maintenance in Draper. This is at the 123rd South off-ramp, so you will need to navigate that left lane is closed. Also, a fresh crash just came in. This is for drivers up in the Mountain Green area. This is westbound I-84 blocking a right shoulder. Spring is calling. Answer in Cedar City and Bryan Head. Head south. Try something different. A one-tank getaway that gives you more vacation. Plan your visit Cedar City alpinehomeMedical.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. You got 74 today. Partly cloudy skies. Some of us could rival records for the date. 65 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, and a chance for showers Tuesday evening. Into Wednesday morning, we got more rain. 60 degrees for a high Wednesday afternoon with some scattered to isolated showers possible. 54 showers possible on Thursday. Friday, AM showers possible 49. Then we bounce back to 60 degrees on Saturday. Easter Sunday, 66 with sunshine. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 72 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets. Well, the Dow losing some of its earlier gains, but still in positive territory. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
I no longer wanted to live.
From rock bottom,
I went back in my house and I got high.
Dave asked me if I love my mom. Absolutely, I love my mom. And he says, well, I'd hate to see how you treat people you hate.
to redemption.
They were able to look me in the eye and tell me the truth and not let me run from it.
No government money, no insurance, just people saving people. Witness the power of the other side. Saturday at noon on KSL.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter-churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hey folks, Jay Broadbent here from Alpine Home Medical. I've been helping folks breathe easier for 29 years now. Trust me, at my age, I know a thing or two about needing a good night's sleep. Is your CPAP mask old and nasty? Are your masks, filters, or tubing from the pre-COVID era? Or just plain tired of the hassle of ordering supplies yourself? Switch to our resupply program. We handle everything. Automatic shipment straight to your door. Insurance billing and expert support. It's quick, easy, and keeps your sleep therapy on track. Doesn't matter where you got your machine from, anyone can join. Head to alpinehomemedical.com, click on the Easy Resupply button. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
KSL News Time 12:54. Project Hail Mary held its #1 spot at the box office with $54.5 million.
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct, including us.
The sci-fi adventure dipped only 32% after notching the best non-franchise opening weekend since 2023's Oppenheimer. Project Hail Mary has grossed $300.8 million worldwide in 2 weeks. Watching Utah's money, the price of wine and champagne is set to go up. It's because of the Trump administration's tariffs. And now restaurants and bars are having to put some menu staples on the chopping block. Reuters reports the average bottle is about $5 more than it was before. The U.S.'s biggest food distributor, Cisco, is expanding, purchasing Restaurant Depot. It's a $29 billion deal. The Wall Street Journal reporting it will likely help Cisco expand into the cash and carry distribution model and serve more customers locally. Gaming is getting more expensive. Sony is raising the price of the PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 will now cost $100 more, bringing the total to $650. The PS5 Pro will also increase to a whopping $900. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow only up by 86 points, now sitting at 45,252. S&P, it's down by 25 points. The Nasdaq's down nearly a full percent, down by 170 points. Fire Fest, the Willy Wonka experience, and now Barbie Dream Fest. They all have one thing in common: complete disappointments. Barbie Dream Fest was supposed to be a large-scale expo with an interactive dream house, a roller rink, a bike course, a glam bar, and doll exhibitors. That's alongside real-life role models like Angel Reese, Dr. Swati Bohan, and Serena Williams. Instead, everything was small, cheap, and even child-sized. Critics say the promotional videos featured adults and promised way more than was delivered.
Can we talk about something difficult to discuss? Are you going through a difficult financial time? You have equity in your home, but nobody can help? American Home Loans has created the Bridge Loan Program to use your equity regardless of your credit at this time. The Bridge Loan can be used to pay debts, collections, IRS liens, divorce settlements, or home improvements. Call it 801-262-2221. That's 262-2221. This loan creates a bridge between now and a much brighter future. After COVID, one of their clients had over $85,000 in credit cards. Their scores were too low to borrow on their home. American Home Loans was able to save them $2,000 a month. And after 8 months, they qualified for a conventional loan and lowered their payments. The consultation is free and confidential. Please call them and see what they can do for you. The number is 801-262-2221. It's 262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com. AmericanHomeLoans.com. NMLS 245422, Equal Housing Lender.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Come on, the meeting's already started.
Sometimes it's important.
Last call, boarding gate number 9.
Sometimes it's urgent.
Rip for a roar.
Sometimes it's vital. Hospital treatment within 1 hour of a stroke can prevent lifelong disability. If you notice someone experiencing sudden weakness on one side or having a problem speaking, walking, or seeing, call 911 fast. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. Michelle?
Again, I-15 looking great, Maria. Not really seeing anything to slow you down out there. But we do have this ongoing maintenance. This is southbound I-15 in Draper at the 123rd South exit. Again, that left lane is blocked, and they do have cones up as you're navigating the Gore area. Also, again, for drivers that are headed eastbound on Pioneer Crossing, still looking at some slowdowns there as you're approaching I-15. At UTA, it's never just a ride from point A to point B. They move Independence. They move purpose, they move memories. They move what matters, you. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today is the warmest day of the week with a high of 74 degrees. Things changing big time starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 65, and then the temperature dropping all the way down to 49 degrees for a high on Friday. 60% chance of showers tomorrow and a 90% chance of showers on Wednesday, 70% chance on Thursday. Mostly cloudy, 72 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Still so many questions surrounding unidentified human remains found in a remote part of Utah County. The discovery over the weekend bringing hope and heartache to families of missing loved ones, many of whom are still seeking answers.
I know we have some families that would love to get a call like that because it would allow the next steps in the process of legal closure or emotional closure. And others, it can act as a form of re-traumatization, bring up a lot of chaotic mixture of feelings of grief, trauma.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, March 30th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera will join me with an update on the case and reaction from victims' advocates. Also this hour, a symphony of sounds for allergy season. This year, things might feel particularly bad, but there are a few remedies that might provide some relief.
Keep windows closed during high pollen periods, okay? I know it's nice out. Keep them closed.
An in-depth discussion on allergies and how to best fight them coming up at 1:30. But first, our top stories. The FBI of Salt Lake City says they confiscated hundreds of thousands of fentanyl pills hidden inside of furniture. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has the story.
The FBI says this bust was worth millions and millions of dollars and could potentially save thousands of lives. But former FBI agent Greg Rogers says that cartels are trafficking so many pills that these kinds of seizures are expected when they plan the route. Rogers says the drivers are told nothing and given nothing but the drugs and a cell phone number to call once they reach their destination. This way, when they're picked up by police or the FBI, they can't provide any actionable information. Rogers says the most effective tool to fight the drug trade is education and constant reminders from parents to use their influence and steer their kids away from these drugs.
Rogers reminded parents across Utah it only takes one pill to kill. Our top national story from ABC News, oil prices went up on Monday over $100 a barrel. Gas prices in the U.S. keep rising due to the war in Iran.
With oil prices going up, GasBuddy reports a national average for regular unleaded is $3.96 a gallon today, up 98 cents a gallon from last month. And $3.96 a gallon would be cheap in California, where many drivers are now paying over $6 a gallon. The average now in California is nearing that amount. With just a 15-gallon tank, that is $90 every fill-up for regular unleaded.
That is ABC's Alex Stone. Other national stories KSL is following. The Final Four is set, and UConn advanced by coming back from down 19 to win, thanks to a last-second deep three-point shot. Jay Reynolds has more.
For the UConn men, it's a Final Four berth for the third time in 4 years, and to get there, they rally from down 19 to beat Duke, doing so on a steal and a desperation three from freshman Braylon Mullins with 0.4 of a second to go. He told SportsCenter last night he didn't realize it was a game winner.
I'm going to be honest, I thought it was for the tie.
UConn heads to the Final Four, men and women. Women's team beating Notre Dame for their 25th Final Four appearance.
Huskies will face Illinois on one side of the bracket. On the other side, Michigan will face Arizona. Both games will be played on Saturday. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 65 points, sitting at 45,231. S&P down by nearly 30 points. That's about 0.5%. The NASDAQ down by 183 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Again, the traffic is getting a little busier for drivers making their way eastbound on Pioneer Crossing, headed toward I-15. Again, that's due to ongoing construction lane restrictions. And also southbound I-15 continuing in the maintenance at 123rd South. Just use some caution in that area. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
High today of 74, 65 tomorrow, down to 49 degrees for the high on Friday. We just got really spoiled, didn't we? And a 60% chance of showers tomorrow, 90% chance on Wednesday. 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for health care reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The discovery of human remains in a remote area of Utah County raising several new questions today. While investigators work to identify the remains, which were found in the mountains above Springville, families who are still searching for missing loved ones are facing a barrage of emotions and feelings. Joining me with more on that is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. And Eric, first, just get us caught up. What happened here?
Absolutely, Maria. This started with a pretty unusual discovery. Deputies say someone riding a horse in the mountains above Springville came across what looked like human remains, but because it's so remote, they couldn't call it in right away because they didn't have cell service out there. So once they got back into range, they did call 911, and investigators hiked in the next morning and did confirm those are human remains. So right now, the big question is identity, and that's what investigators are working to figure out.
Wow, I just can't imagine how victims' families react to news like this when they have someone who's missing. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. You know, moments like this can be incredibly emotional, you can imagine, right? For families who've been waiting for answers about a missing loved one. So I hit up Brock Best, Executive Director of Utah Homicide Survivors, and asked what goes through their clients' minds, right, when this happens. He told me there's really no one way families react to something like this.
I know we have some families that would love to get a call like that. And love might be a strong term, but would look forward to it because it would allow the next steps in the process of either legal closure or emotional closure. Some cases, without a body or any remains, it's difficult to figure out what actually happened to their loved one. And others, it can act as a form of re-traumatization, bring up a lot of chaotic mixture of feelings of grief, trauma, and then for some being forced to face a reality that none of us should ever have to face. You then become part of a club that no one wants to be a member of.
And I think that's the powerful part to remember, right, is that before answers even come, there's a lot of emotion tied to these moments. He also gave advice to the families who hear this to not be afraid to lean on your circle.
The best resource, the biggest thing is their own loved ones. They need to turn to each other. They need to be supports for each other. Is I think really the biggest thing I've noticed, and what fascinates me and is the most inspiring thing in this job is seeing how families come together to work through whatever they need to. But it's always having those shoulders to cry on and those arms to lift them up. And then in terms of trying to navigate everything, obviously finding an organization like Utah Homicide Survivors, we try and do anything and everything we can for these families. So while they can just focus on helping each other and going through the grief that they need to and trying to build again, we can help take all the not so fun, mundane, legal and other issues that pop up and just allow them to focus on each other.
Okay, Eric, get us up to date on the investigation. Have we learned any new information?
Not yet. So investigators say this is still very much active. They're continuing to search the area as conditions allow, and the remains will be examined by the state medical examiner to try to confirm identity and cause of death. So right now it's still very early and a lot of unanswered questions.
All right. Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joining me live in the studio. We'll continue to track the story, bring you any updates on air, online, and on the KSL News Radio app. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Most financial advisors only manage your money. They refer you out for taxes. They refer you out for estate planning. They refer you out when things get complicated. Did they really vet that person? Or did they meet once, exchange business cards, and call it a partnership? A referral isn't accountability. It's a handoff. When your investments, taxes, and estate plan are built separately, gaps happen, and those can cost money. At Trajan, we didn't build a referral network. We built a family office for all. Wealth, tax, estate. One team delivering coordinated planning, once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. If you want real coordination and not just introductions, call Trajan Wealth today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
TSA workers seeing their first paycheck in more than a month today. They're getting paid thanks to an order from President Trump. But the pay won't last unless Congress acts. And with lawmakers now on break for the next 2 weeks, there is no certainty when a budget for the full Department of Homeland Security will be passed. News Nation's Trevor Shirley has more.
With Congress on recess, President Donald Trump says lawmakers in his own party need to get tough.
They're playing it too soft. The Republicans are wonderful people, but we're dealing with very sick individuals. The Democrats are sick.
Some lawmakers say it's time for Congress to cut their 2-week recess short, come back to Washington, and work out a deal to fund DHS. TSA workers are now getting paid.
We're going to pay them for as long as we have to.
But thousands of others at agencies under DHS, like the Coast Guard and Secret Service, are not. Some lawmakers question why President Trump waited so long to pay TSA workers by executive order.
Why didn't he do this weeks ago?
Last week in the Senate, Democrats and Republicans agreed to fund the Department of Homeland Security without additional funding for ICE and Border Patrol. House Republicans rejected that plan Friday, instead voting to fund the entire Department of Homeland Security for 60 days. But Democrats say that plan won't pass the Senate, where 7 Democrats would need to vote for it.
Our position is very simply, we want ICE to act like the police force that they are.
It's unclear if lawmakers would actually cut short their 2-week recess, meaning in all likelihood this shutdown will continue for at least another few weeks. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
Let's start first with the TSA. Thousands of workers will finally get a paycheck today, but union leaders for TSA say it's not enough. They're among those calling for Congress to come back to Washington ASAP and pass a full funding bill. Secretary-Treasurer of the union representing the TS workers, Johnny Jones.
Our legislative branch of our government has failed the American people across all spectrums. They are at home packing up their Easter eggs for their family, and a lot of TSA officers won't have money. And a lot of the people that work for the Department of Homeland Security aren't going to have the money to buy candy for their kids. And they're not going to go out there and I'm going to go find some addresses and tell my kids, hey, go find some of those Easter eggs because they're the ones that got all your money. So there needs to be, these guys need to be back on a plane, back in D.C., do their jobs, uphold the oath of the Constitution, just like all of us at TSA and other parts of DHS.
Now, Jones tells CNN that a paycheck is nice, but they deserve more, especially considering the financial hardships many TSA workers found themselves in thanks to this shutdown.
A lot of people have incurred debts over the time and, like the late fees and all those things don't go away. So you don't get compensated for those issues. That's the reason why we've been out pushing like, hey, everybody needs like a $10,000 bonus just so they could fix their lives, because this has been a catastrophe. TSA officers have been used as political pawns in other parts of the department, and the damage to the TSA officer is not going to be magically fixed by just giving us our back pay. We have totally taken on tremendous amounts of debt on the behalf of the American people.
Johnny Jones is the Secretary-Treasurer of the union representing the TSA workers. ABC's Selena Wang says the fight over long-term funding for TSA and other DHS agencies continues to be controversial and complicated. She says senators worked around the clock last week to get their proposal passed, but it died in the House with the GOP majority proposing something else. Wang joins Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast to explain.
So they really scrambled to get this bill passed through the Senate to reopen the Department of Homeland Security. So it would reopen that department, but it would strip out funding for ICE and Border Patrol. However, both of those agencies are already fully funded under President Trump's mega bill passed last year, but that was what the Senate bill entailed. Then it goes over to the House, and House Speaker Mike Johnson and other Republican members, they flat out reject that, and they end up plowing ahead with their own option to reopen DHS to fully fund the department for about 2 months.
The House stayed later than we were scheduled to stay to take up a bill to fully fund the department and sent it back over to the Senate. So the bill is over in the Senate. The Senate's got options. They've got to come back and deal with it.
And then they also left town.
With ICE, with Border Patrol, like the whole thing gets funded. That's what the House proposal is.
Yes, exactly. They took issue with that, again, even though both of those agencies are fully funded under Trump's mega bill passed last year. And let's not forget why we got into this in the first place. Democrats thought this fight was worth it to pressure Republicans to make real reforms to immigration enforcement after federal officers killed Americans Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. Their demands include ICE agents wearing body cameras and obtaining judicial warrants before entering private homes. But so far, they have gotten none of their demands. And Brad, when it comes to that House bill that was passed, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that's dead on arrival in the Senate. Wow. So the problem is you've got two plans to reopen the government and this partial government shutdown, but they can't choose or decide what plan to go ahead with.
The president's order to pay TSA workers only applies to TSA workers. It doesn't help other parts of the Department of Homeland Security who are unfunded.
We're just talking about TSA workers, but there are tens of thousands of other workers, including with FEMA, Coast Guard personnel, who are going to continue to go without pay. And there are workers I've been speaking to, as well as lawmakers who have been talking on the Sunday shows, who say, look, if the president had the authority to do this all along, why did he wait until now to make sure that these workers are paid?
President Trump has said he has the emergency authority to spend money for TSA. And the question I have is, why didn't he use that 45 days ago?
And not to mention, even with back pay coming, many are going to continue to struggle because of penalties and late fees that they've accumulated over the past several weeks. Remember, a lot of these people live paycheck to paycheck.
Still a lot of outstanding questions right now over the future funding for the TSA, making it harder for many to plan long term. We do have some breaking news on KSL News Radio. The FBI right now is giving an update on that synagogue attack.
And the largest Jewish temple in Michigan.
The FBI defines terrorism as a violent criminal act by an individual who is inspired by or associated with a designated foreign terrorist organization. We do not make this characterization lightly without a thorough review and keen evaluation of the facts. In this case, the evidence shows the attacker was motivated and inspired by Hezbollah's militant ideology. Although the assailant's attack planning and mobilization to violence began in earnest on March 9th, which I will fully detail here shortly, a review of his online activity since January 2026 revealed a reoccurring search history of pro-Hezbollah news channels, Iranian news channels, and videos about shootouts and bullets. He regularly consumed breaking news and statements and live coverage of the current Secretary General of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, and viewed news coverage about an Iranian fatwa for total jihad against the U.S. military. Beginning on March 9th, during the early mornings, the assailant started viewing web pages of local synagogues, and in the afternoon, he attempted to purchase a weapon from 2 different individuals, both of whom we've identified and interviewed. After those people denied his request, he then purchased an AR-style rifle at a local gun store in Dearborn Heights, along with 10 rifle magazines and approximately 300 rounds of .223 rifle ammunition. While he was at the gun store, he ordered a rifle magazine pouch as well as 40 5.3-gallon water containers from an online store. After that gun store, he then began researching locations for local fireworks vendors. Throughout the night of March 9th, the assailant began visiting numerous different web pages of Jewish cultural, educational, and religious centers all throughout the Detroit metro area, and even viewed multiple pages of upcoming events at Temple Israel. During the morning and early morning of March 10th, he continued his online searches with specific search terms and phrases such as the largest gathering of Israelis in Michigan, Orthodox synagogues, Israelis near me, what time is the Trump rally in Michigan, as well as a center affiliated with the Israeli embassy in Michigan. He later attempted to try and delete these queries, but we were able to recover them. At approximately 1 p.m. on March 10th, the assailant visited a local shooting range and practiced shooting his new weapon. He then drove to the local fireworks vendor that he researched at approximately 2 p.m. and purchased over $2,200 of fireworks. After leaving that local fireworks vendor, he continued reviewing web pages related to Temple Israel, its clergy, and its upcoming events. On March 11th, the day before the attack, in the early morning, he began adding photos to a Facebook photo album that he entitled Vengeance. And he started including images such as the late Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini, as well as the late Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah. With there on the right, in Arabic, it says, "Burn their world, for we have a vendetta against them that we will never forget." Throughout that morning on the 11th, he continued to post photos of his deceased brothers, niece, and nephew, and exchanged some messages with his family. However, at approximately 2:22 p.m., the delivery of his 45.3-gallon collapsible water containers arrived, and from 2:45 onward, we see him begin planning and organizing his truck, and he goes to get gas 4 different times so that he can fill up his containers without alerting too much suspicion. By 10:50 p.m., he makes his final run to a gas station and purchases 2 torch lighters, which we believe he used to light his truck on fire. Throughout the same afternoon, while he's organizing his truck and going to gas stations, the assailant continued reviewing web pages for Temple Israel and its upcoming events. And by 6:30, he continued posting pro-Hezbollah propaganda, as well as videos of his brother, and watching a video about how Israel is the most violent country in the world. Next slide. This is just an example of some of the posts that he was posting during the afternoon of the 11th. On the left is a statement issued by the Islamic Resistance of Hezbollah about the beginning of a military operation on March 11th called El As El Makul.
We've been listening to an update from the FBI on their investigation into the synagogue attack in Michigan on March 12th. The FBI describing the days that led up to that attack and the shooter's movements ahead of the Hezbollah-inspired terror attack. Now, the new information detailing the planning of the attack, the purchase of weapons, and the research into the synagogue. Also talking about social protests calling for vengeance and pro-Hezbollah propaganda. After the break, thousands more U.S. troops are headed to the Middle East, potentially preparing for the war with Iran to intensify. Details coming up next, but first let's get you up to date on traffic. Traffic and weather is brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle, we have an emergency traffic situation?
Yes, Maria. This is northbound I-15 in American Fork approaching Pioneer Crossing. The 4 right lanes are closed due to a large vehicle fire. Looks like probably an RV that they've been working on trying to get that under control. So we're seeing traffic backing all the way up to almost Pleasant Grove Boulevard at this point. So you're going to want to use some caution and allow some extra travel time through that area. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Every day on your way home, you pass it. That one lawn so thick and deep green, it belongs in the big leagues. It sets the bar for the entire street, making every other lawn look like it's still waiting for a wake-up call. Look for the sign of a winner. Big League Lawns. Now, it's your turn. Level the playing field and get the results your home deserves. Go home to a Big League Lawn.
Are mosquitoes still ruining your nights? The kids are finally outside, the string lights are glowing, and the swatting starts. Don't let mosquitoes steal your summer. Call Skeeter Eater, a Utah company built for backyards like yours. Our family-friendly treatments and smart mosquito traps keep the fun going long after sunset. Fewer bites, happier nights, and peace of mind that lasts all season. Book now and get $40 off your first treatment at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites. Start the fun.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As the war in the Middle East continues and even intensifies, it has the stock market spooked just a bit. In the past few minutes, the Dow moving into negative territory, now down by 102 points. S&P is down by 50. The NASDAQ down more than a full percent, down 250 points. But when the markets closed on Friday afternoon, the Dow ended in correction about 10% lower than recent highs. DMBA certified financial planner Shane Stewart says the cost for oil is really driving this uncertainty.
The Dow is taking into account most especially the cost of oil caused by the attacks in Iran, and so it's factoring all that in. And I think the markets were waiting around a bit to see how long this Iran war would take, and since it looks like it's going to be there for a while, I think the corrections have been made in the market, and a little more volatility, and a lot of it has to do with the price of oil going way up.
He says even if things got better today, it would take a while for the market to return to normal.
I think if we heard some news that they've found some ways to get things settled down in Iran, things getting settled down with oil prices, it wouldn't last long. However, these things take a little bit of time to unwind. So even if we heard today that U.S. is out of Iran and oil's back to normal price, it'll probably take weeks to months to correct that. If we don't hear that for a while, we might be in this pattern of ups and downs in the market for the foreseeable future, probably several months or maybe even until the end of the year.
Even with the market volatility, he tells KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman that it's important not to panic.
Typically, you don't want to be reactionary to news like this, meaning get out of those funds, because you might miss out on some of the best days. And frankly, some of the best days in the market happen in between some of the worst days, and you don't know which day that's going to be. So being too reactionary with your investments is not a good idea. However, your day-to-day purchases, you do want to start taking a look at maybe saving money, taking the bus, or whatever you can do to not have to use too much oil or gas right now, if that's hitting your pocketbook right now. Just paying attention to travel and gassing up your car. It will impact all of us significantly for a bit here as things get a little more expensive.
Shane Stewart is a certified financial planner with DMBA. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Allergy season is in full swing, and it's packing quite a punch for many Utahns. We are taking a closer look at ways to find some relief. A surge in car crashes involving pedestrians could have us facing one of the deadliest years on Utah's roads. And KSL traffic, Michelle?
Emergency traffic northbound I-15 in American Fork. Maria?
Time now for KSL's top local stories. The attorneys for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, are asking a judge to push back his preliminary hearing date. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has details.
Robinson's lawyers say they haven't received all the evidence they need from the state during discovery, and what they've received so far is going to take some time to go through. During a meeting between the prosecution and defense teams earlier this month, Robinson's team says they received more than 600,000 files, including 700 hours of video. They say it's going to take them some time, at least 60 days, for just the initial review of this evidence. The courts are expecting to hold a preliminary hearing for Robinson starting May 18th, but his team doesn't think that's enough time.
They are asking for the date to be pushed back and for the remaining evidence that has yet to be passed on, including some key forensics. Other local stories KSL is following. New details on Salt Lake County's jail population show people who are homeless account for about a third of all inmates, a big increase from a year ago. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce reports.
Sheriff Rosie Rivera compiled the info to present to the Salt Lake County Council tomorrow as they assess how to pay for a jail expansion, which voters rejected in 2024. Legislation helped free up bed space in the Salt Lake County jails in the last year. It also ended the practice of overcrowding releases, meaning that people who are booked tend to stay longer. According to the numbers, that also means the increased capacity was basically filled up as soon as it was available, and the jails are still at capacity.
Discussions are in the early stages, but if the council approves a bond to fund expanding the jails, it could eventually mean higher property taxes. U.S. Forest Service sector that serves Uinta, Wasatch, and Cache counties has some planned fires this week. The slash piles will be lit in South Willow Canyon, about 6 miles southwest of Grantsville, so don't panic if you see any smoke in the area on Wednesday. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 83 points, sitting at 45,083. S&P down by 49. The NASDAQ right now down by 246. That's nearly 1.25%. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Michelle?
KSL traffic trooper letting us know it's actually a semi-tractor trailer that caught fire. This is northbound I-15. All of 4 of the right lanes in the American Fork area, I should say, are closed. It's backing up to Pleasant Grove Boulevard. So you're going to want to allow plenty of extra time to get through this area. Once you get past the delays, though, it's just south of Pioneer Crossing. You're seeing good speeds all the way up toward Salt Lake and beyond. Spring has blossomed in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in cooperation with the Utah Office of Tourism. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
High today of 74 degrees. It's the warmest of the week. Temperatures slowly dropping until we get down to a high of 49 on Friday. 60% chance of showers tomorrow and a 90% chance on Wednesday. 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Making an Impact, sponsored by Granger. We know about boxed wine, but what about paper wine? One California winery is going greener with paper wine bottles. Here's Shannon Baladeras from Monterey Wine Company.
It's better for the environment. It reduces the carbon footprint by 6 times that of glass.
For the ones who get it done, Granger offers the professional grade products you need delivered when and where you need them. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Allergies have come on with a vengeance early this year. Now, you've probably been sniffling or sneezing yourself, and if not, someone around you has been. It's all a result of the warmer temperatures and the earlier bloom time for many high pollen plants. On Health Matters on Midday, Dr. Richard Ferguson, who is the president of the Black Physicians of Utah, joins me to help provide some much-needed relief to allergy sufferers.
Check local pollen counts. So on your phone, there's always a little section in there that talks about air quality index, and right near it shows pollen. All right, and it's often the same type of color readings as it goes with air quality index. So there'll be a green, there'll be a yellow, there'll be an orange, and that'll often tell you what you need to prepare for when you're going outside. If you don't have a mask on, if you're someone that's very reactive, meaning you get very irritated, sneezing, coughing, maybe even inducing an allergic form of asthma, you have to reduce how much you're inhaling. So follow local pollen count, keep windows closed during high pollen periods, okay? I know it's nice out. Keep them closed. Limit outdoor activity when pollen is high. So when people come inside, change your clothes, wash off, even shower, especially if you're someone that's very sensitive, especially before bed. Some people don't realize that you're keeping windows open with a fan circulating, and then you get onto your pillow, you actually can't see it, but you might have pollen on your pillow, and then you'll have difficulty breathing at night, so reduce exposure. Next, for many people, the best first-line medication is actually a nasal steroid. That's for everyday use during the season. I also sort of combine that with taking your Zyrtec or your generic Sertrazine, or Zysol is very popular. These sprays reduce the inflammation and help with congestion, the sneezing, and the runny nose. So that's one of the and these are over the counter. You don't need a prescription, so that's your Flonase and its associated generics. Nasal Quart is another form. And then I think the other thing to think about is just try to avoid cold medication. So you want to avoid decongestion. So anything that has like pseudoephedrine, that helps with short term, but it's not right for everyone, especially if you have high blood pressure, maybe you have glaucoma or heart disease. You don't want to use that. And you usually don't want to use it for longer than 3 days. So anything that's saying allergy with a D, I tend to steer more people to just going your normal one that doesn't have a decongesting component. You don't need this pseudoephedrine. That's why I say nasal steroid and then an oral antihistamine that's not Benadryl. If you got Benadryl and that's all you have, that's fine. But just remember your sertraline, your loratadine, your fexofenadine, that's also called Allegra. Those are far more effective than your diphenhydramine or your Benadryl because it doesn't make you drowsy and you can actually continue working. And the other thing people have to remember, you may have to dose a second time. Many of them say one time a day, but really they wear off in about 15, 16 hours. So I often have to dose again before I go to sleep.
How do people decide when they should actually be seeking a doctor's attention, not just using the over-the-counter stuff? Is there anything new on the horizon to actually treat allergies?
I mean, I would say if symptoms are persistent beyond using over-the-counter nasal steroid and a daily, one of the newer antihistamines, or keep coming back every year, even though you have over-the-counter treatment and it doesn't seem to control your symptoms, that's when you want to seek care from your primary care doc. You don't necessarily need to go see an allergist unless it's impairing you from doing like daily tasks. You know, your eyes are watering so much that you can't drive or you can't work, or you're sneezing so much that it's hard for you to sleep, or you're having difficulty breathing, or you get swelling in your face. That's when you need to seek an allergist. And they can put you on something such as immunotherapy. Those are your allergy shots that have been around a very long time. Often people can get great control with these, but then it's sometimes hard to wean off of them. Eventually, a doctor should be weaning you off of your allergen shots. So these are shots that kind of slowly sensitize you after you're someone that's gone through formal allergy testing. So it's kind of not so much new on the horizon. It's about what type of extrinsic form or type of allergies you have. And if you're someone that needs immunotherapy, or meaning getting the allergy shots, there's also biologics that can be used, but that's more so if you have a type of allergen-induced difficulty breathing. So if it triggers your asthma in a certain way, but we usually or you have a form of urticaria or just itchy rashes that show up. There are biologic agents that someone can qualify for, but usually you're going to have to fail your general sertraline, Zyrtec, loratadine first, and go through formal allergy testing before someone will likely get that covered by your insurance. So I would just say the quick take home is treat early, not late. So start before your allergy. Know it's coming. Pay attention to pollen counts. Wash your face before you go to bed. Take a shower if you can. Change your clothes. You know, the key is to wash this pollen off and use the medications consistently. Like I said, you're not the type 2, I would say, antihistamines that are out now. And for many people, a daisy nasal steroid is often the backbone of treatment.
All right. And then you have an event coming up to help people who suffer from allergies.
Yes, particularly if it leads to asthma. So there was a close friend of mine and business leader in Utah, but particularly more so for the Black community, named Nikki Walker. And she died of asthma a few days after Juneteenth last year. And so a memorial to her, we're going to have an asthma awareness prevention treatment lecture. We're actually flying in a pulmonologist that has a lot of experience in treating and managing those with asthma. And we're going to have a bit of a panel. So it's going to be a little bit of education. And at the same time, those that are sharing their experiences living with asthma in Utah, because actually a lot of people that relocate to Utah, their asthma worsens, their allergy symptoms worsen. And so this will be on May 16th at Marmalade Library in their big multi-purpose room from 10:30 to 12. It'll be a very engaging event, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit to take home to better manage your allergy symptoms as well as your asthma.
Dr. Richard Ferguson is the president of the Black Physicians of Utah and an emergency room doctor. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
Utah is on track to have one of its worst years for auto pedestrian crashes, and we're not even into the deadliest time on Utah's roads, summer. So far, 13 people have died and 31 others have been seriously injured in car crashes involving pedestrians. After every serious crash, UDOT reviews why the accident happened and whether the changes need to be made to make the roadways safer. Alessandro Rigolon is an associate professor at the University of Utah's Department of City and Metropolitan Planning and says that they take a lot of factors into account when designing roadways.
We generally like to refer to a safe system approach, which is the idea that people will make some mistakes, and so the streets should be designed so that those mistakes are not fatal or deadly. And so generally speed is the biggest factor. So being hit by a car at 20 miles an hour versus 40 miles an hour, the chances of dying increase significantly. And so how wide the road is also a factor. Bigger roads take a long time to cross. Visibility is an issue at night. So addressing that. And also understand where people actually walk. Like there's some really big blocks. And so sometimes people naturally try to cross mid-block, and so understanding where those locations are and building mid-block crossings. And so we, in Utah, we're looking at, places like State Street, Redwood Road, parts of Baumgartner Highway. Those are critical spots that could be designed more, they're designed to move a lot of cars efficiently. But there's also places with a lot of street life, restaurants, bus stops, and shops. And so there's people going to be, walking there. And so how to address that risk in those places becomes very important.
While it's important to educate drivers, Rigolon tells KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson, telling pedestrians to wear reflective clothing only goes so far in preventing these types of accidents.
There's a broad range of tools. The most effective ones are those that naturally shape driver behaviors into making it safer. And so, broadly speaking, narrower lanes or fewer lanes, there's research showing that narrower lanes are actually not creating more congestion, but they're making streets safer. What we call median islands. So kind of, islands, if there's a big street to cross, those medians give pedestrians a place to stop and be safer and crossing stages. But also like stuff like curb extensions to shorten crossing distance. And in some, not in super big streets, but in more local streets, the city, Salt Lake, and other places have used successfully raised crosswalks that naturally slow down vehicles. There's other things like better, more visible crosswalks, with traffic signs and lights, and overall creating a speed, promoting speeds that match the environment, meaning match the amount of people crossing and on the sidewalks. And so there's a couple of examples. Downtown Salt Lake, the reconstruction of 200 South with the bus lanes and bike lanes and some pedestrian islands. 300 West also has been done recently and with safer designs. and so on. There's also stuff that UDOT has done with pedestrian crossings along State Streets, 700 East, and Foothill Drive that have those kind of well-signalized crossings with pedestrian islands and so on. And I think it's important to say that, from the taxpayer perspective, these are, they cost money, these improvements, but in the long term, they actually save money in terms of fewer crashes and emergency response.
Alessandro Rigolan is an associate professor at the University of Utah's Department of City and Metropolitan Planning. Space crews now in their final preparations for the next mission to the stars, or at least around the moon. We'll take an in-depth look at how their spacesuits are made coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. And it is emergency traffic brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Michelle?
This is due to a vehicle fire northbound I-15 in American Fork just prior to Pioneer Crossing. They did have the 4 right lanes closed. Now they have all but the very right lane opened, but traffic has already done its damage. It's already backed almost to 1600 North in Linden. So you're going to want to add a few extra minutes to your travel time, or you could even still consider taking an alternate, possibly State Street, to get around these delays. Spring is calling. Answer in Cedar City and Bryan Head. Head south. Try something different. An one-tank getaway that gives you more vacation. Plan now at visitcedarcity.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, 0 timers to reset, 0 downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs change, kids grow up, new memes come and go. But what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Well, thanks to the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need the most, that finds and fixes any issues before you even notice. It's like a super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. You get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices and no one battling for bandwidth for the next 5 years. All your devices will be working in perfect harmony with the equipment, with no annual contracts, no fees, and no strings. So even though your kid will grow up and you still won't understand 6, 7, the price for your sharp, reliable internet will stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Just days from now, NASA will send 4 astronauts for a 685,000-mile journey around the moon. ABC's Perry Russum explains why this mission is making history in many ways.
NASA's historic launch sending astronauts around the moon. The mission is filled with firsts, including Victor Glover, set to become the first black man to be sent near the moon.
Young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that.
The crew's ready, the rocket's ready, the spaceship's ready, ground systems are ready, and we only need to have the weather to cooperate.
NASA says right now they are forecast to be an 80% go for Wednesday. That is when this launch window opens.
As the astronauts gear up to fly around the moon for the first time in more than a half century, behind the scenes, engineers are making sure their spacesuits will function properly. The Associated Press went inside the spacesuit lab with engineer Dustin Gomer to learn how their spacesuits are made.
There is no part store in space to go fix things, so it must be right when it leaves here. My role is project manager and system manager for the Orion Crew Survival System. I've been working on Orion since 2005. We use all acronyms here at NASA all the time, and so it's OCSS. One day we realized it kind of spells ox, so we just call it the ox, and we call it the ox suit. This is an engineering lab, and so it's kind of weird. While we have this lab, we also have, people are people. You got to wash your clothes, and it's the same with spacesuits. We wash them, we have drying racks, we do our own sewing, we do our own glue work. The main thing about the Orion spacesuit is it's designed to keep the crew safe not only at launch and landing, but if something were to go wrong while you're in transit to the moon or in lunar orbit, they're designed to sustain you for that full duration of return. So they become your own personal-sized spacecraft that can last up to 6 days. In effect, the spacesuit is a body-shaped balloon that holds your personal atmosphere. That is in the past, that is in the current, that will be in every spacesuit in the future. Now, in Apollo, that suit was built for launch, for landing, for survival, and for the mission on the moon itself. With Orion, we're not trying to build a jack-of-all-trades suit. When we walk on the surface, that also will have a purpose-built suit that does that one job and one job only. If everything goes to plan, we will wear them for launch. We will doff the suits, meaning take them off. That's our cool NASA word for takeoff. And then we will don the suits just prior to re-entry. Now, if things were to go unplanned, we've designed them so that they can put their full ensemble on, not just the suit, but all the gear underneath that makes the suit do what it has to do within an hour. So it's kind of weird. You're hooked up effectively to a hose. We were all a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of attaching directly up to the vacuum of space, and so this gives us a barrier in between that we can fill it and we can cycle it as it fills up. It continuously allows for the dumping of urine into space. The phenomena that happens is it instantly turns to ice, and then over time that ice turns to gas. It's going to be a protein shake, for lack of better terminology, but a straw is inserted in here. As the straw is inserted, it seals on an O-ring before it opens the flapper inside that allows it to penetrate through. So the seal is never broken. And then, it's off on the side of the head for visibility's sake, but the helmet rotates, so I can rotate it to be at my mouth location when I want to drink or take medicine as well. We actually worked with the racing industry quite a bit. We had partnerships with NASCAR, with Indy. So not only is the suit custom to you, but the seat's customized around you, just like a race car driver would have. Keep in mind, when you're under a parachute coming in from lunar trajectories, it is a very, very difficult situation. Every landing is effectively a controlled crash. That's why the suit is soft without hard components.
Splashdown.
Every last detail is so critical. There will be something we overlook. It's impossible for me to say there is no possible case we haven't thought of. But everything that we've learned, I hope we've done justice to those lessons of applying it here, that we give the crew the best possible chance of survival in any circumstance. We're about to do something we haven't done in 50 years, and we're about to do it in a new way, and it is so inspiring to be part of it.
The 10-day Artemis mission aboard the Orion spacecraft won't land on the moon or even orbit it, but it's the first step for future moon landings. In the next hour of Midday, we'll chat with a security expert about the Pentagon sending more troops to the Middle East. I hope you'll stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The attorneys for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk are asking for more time to review hundreds of thousands of pieces of evidence. Tyler Robinson's defense team bogged down by the sheer number of documents and recordings.
What they're saying is, look, we've got a preliminary hearing set in May. There is no way we're going to be able to get through all of this information before then.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, March 30th. It's Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get details on how the defense team also claims the prosecution is dragging their feet to share all of the evidence. Also this hour, BYU women's basketball set to play in the WBIT Final Four today.
And they've made the most of their opportunity, and now they're 2 games away from having a chance to win a championship and get an opportunity to hang a banner.
Tip-off against Kansas is in about an hour. We'll get a preview of the game. But first, our top stories. Utah State's men's basketball team has reportedly found their next head coach again. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
The Aggies are reportedly hiring Ben Jacobson, who spent the last 20 years as Northern Iowa's head coach. During his tenure, he led the Panthers to the NCAA tournament 5 times and got them all the way to the Sweet 16 in 2009. Though his team this year was not so fortunate, getting blown out by St. John's in the first round. Jacobson said after the game,
"Our opponent today said, they're really good. Right? We knew that coming in, but it doesn't change that we earned our way here."
Jacobson set to become Utah State's 5th head coach just since the 2020-2021 season. The Aggies are hoping they can keep him around a little bit longer. According to reports, he's signing a 5-year deal to come to Logan. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. TSA officers around the country say they're beginning to receive back pay after more than 40 days. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
Pascual Contreras is a TSA officer in Phoenix. He, like many of his colleagues, had been calling out sick after weeks of not getting paid. He says he'll be returning to work tomorrow now that his back pay has appeared in his bank account, but he says the damage has already been done.
There's a lot of uncertainty, and we have lost a lot of good officers, unfortunately.
Also, it's unclear as if the president's order for TSA officers to get back pay will also include future pay until there's a deal, or if it will just be the lump sum of back pay for now. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Other national stories KSL is following. We are nearing the second month in the U.S. war with Iran. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt continues to say peace talks are underway.
He wants to see a deal over the next 10 days. That timeline is waning, several days left, and we'll see. I won't get ahead of it. We'll see what happens in the end of the 10-day period.
We still don't know who in the Iranian regime the U.S. is talking to, and the Iranians have said that peace talks are not happening. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow ending up 50 points, sitting at 45,216. S&P 500 down by 25. The NASDAQ down by 154 points. That's about 0.75%. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And we have emergency traffic, Michelle.
Yes, Maria, this is northbound I-15 in American Fork. It's just prior to Pioneer Crossing. But again, delays are slow and go all the way back to about 1600 north in Linden. They did have all but the two left lanes closed. Now the only lane that is closed is the very right lane and the right shoulder. But again, the damage is done, so you're gonna see a lot of slowing going through that area. Once you get past the vehicle fire, you're going to see good speeds all the way up into Salt Lake and beyond. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy the warm temperatures today, a high of 74. Things cooling down for the rest of the week, getting down to more normal temperatures. Tomorrow's high 65, down to 49 by Friday. 60% chance of showers tomorrow and 90% chance on Wednesday. Right now, 73 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design. Every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Hundreds of thousands of files, videos, and audio all bogging down the defense team of Tyler Robinson. He's the man accused of killing political influencer Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University last year. Now, Robinson's legal team is asking the judge to push back his preliminary hearing, saying they need more time and all the evidence in order to present an adequate defense. Joining me now live in studio with the details on this latest is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson. So, Heather, tell us a little bit about this filing from the defense team.
So basically, Robinson's defense team saying there's no way they could be ready for the preliminary hearing in May. It was put on the court calendar for the week of May 18th, but earlier this month they met with the prosecution and got some of the evidence from discovery. And KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda says it's a lot to process.
20,000 files, including 61,500 pages. The audio files are 31 hours in length, 5,000 video files that are 700 hours worth, and that they're expecting some 600,000 files altogether. So what they're saying is, look, we've got a preliminary hearing set in May. There is no way we're going to be able to get through all of this information before then. And by the way, you only get one preliminary hearing in Utah. You can't just keep asking for more and more and more. So if you're a defense attorney, you want to make sure you have everything lined out, you have all the information together, and you're prepared for your one-shot preliminary hearing. And they're not asking for a significant amount of time. They're just saying there's no way we can be ready by the May preliminary hearing date.
And that's not even all of it. They say they're still waiting on some of the evidence to be handed over to them, including some forensic DNA and ballistic reports from the FBI and the ATF. Skorda says this is more evidence than he's used to seeing for a single murder case, but it does make sense given how many witnesses they're probably working with because of how many people were at UVU that day to watch Kirk speak the day he was shot and killed.
Okay, so what are they hoping to accomplish with this motion?
So they're just asking for more time so they can get all the evidence the state plans to present and so that they can have more time to go through it all. They think that it would take them a minimum of 60 days just to complete an initial review. And Skorda thinks it's likely the judge will grant their request.
They said this is the first time we've asked for a continuance. It's never been asked before, and we don't want to have ourselves as defense attorneys challenged. And they're really saying if we can even have 60 days. So they're not asking for a year or something like that. And by the way, their client's in custody, so there's no harm to the public. So what they're saying is we've never asked for it before. There's a lot of information. Give us 60 days, and then we'll come back, and if we're ready, then we'll set a preliminary hearing.
Robinson's next court hearing is on the calendar for April 17th, which is when the judge is supposed to hear arguments on whether to allow cameras and microphones. That could be when we hear whether the judge will grant the defense's request to delay the preliminary hearing.
All right. Thanks, Heather. That is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson joining me live in studio with more on this latest ask to delay the case against the man accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk. A massive drug bust from agents with the FBI Salt Lake office. They posted on social media today, and they say they recently seized 240,000 fentanyl pills hidden inside of furniture. Retired FBI agent Greg Rogers says these kinds of drug trafficking busts continue to happen because of the money.
It's just incredibly profitable. And there's what people don't realize is there are the new generation cartels active in Utah. They're very, fentanyl is really one of their main things, and it's incredibly profitable for them. And Utah's a transit. All those aren't stopping here in Utah. They're coming through, and some are staying here. It's going on up to Denver, but Utah is a route, and we're going to be seeing these huge busts because the way the cartel set it up is that person that's driving that car knows nothing. They're basically told where to meet somebody at the border to get into this car. They're given a cell phone number to call when they get to Salt Lake or Ogden, and that's really all they know. So if that guy gets busted, he basically has a cell phone number of somebody he was supposed to contact when he gets there. It's incredibly profitable, and they don't have much to lose.
Rogers tells KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott that this kind of seizure definitely doesn't make the cartels happy. But because of the vast number of pills being trafficked every day, he says the cartels usually see this as just the cost of doing business.
It doesn't hurt them. They're not happy about it. It's a loss of a lot of money, but they can produce that amount of pills in those super labs in no time, and they'll have that many more on the road coming this way tomorrow. It's a massive production capability that they have. Sadly, the government in Mexico does very little to stop that, and so it's a cost of doing business.
Is there a place law enforcement could instead focus their attention to make a bigger impact on ending this dangerous distribution of drugs? Court officials could cut off things at the source. Could officials possibly cut things off at the source? Roger says, unfortunately, it's not that simple.
To be really brutally honest about it, I'm a bit of a cynic because I spent 30 years working narcotics, and I used to, when I was training younger agents, I would say, look, we need to be out there. We need to be doing this stuff. But if you think one of your arrests or one of your busts is going to radically change the narcotics trade, you're naive. This is Mexico, unfortunately, now is a narco trafficking state, and they can produce all the narcotics that we can consume. And periodically they'll arrest the head of one cartel or the other. And that looks good in the news. But, the Sinaloa cartel didn't slow down at all because El Chapo got busted. And the New Generation cartel's not going to close down because Mencho got busted. I mean, they just, those guys are replaced within days. And with the cooperation of a government that allows them to operate at those high levels, they can produce massive amounts of narcotics. They can make literally billions of dollars.
With his years in law enforcement, he believes the only way to really crack down on fentanyl is to take the same kind of approach Americans took with tobacco: education. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for healthcare, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for healthcare reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The BYU women's basketball team takes center stage this afternoon as they strive to make history in the WBIT Final Four. The Cougars face Big 12 foe Kansas in the tournament semifinals. KSL BYU insider Mitch Harper joins me to talk about why this is such a big deal for the women.
I think it's noteworthy considering BYU women's basketball was struggling the past few years. And now that they have first-year head coach Lee Kumard, he's led them to a 25-win season, the most wins by a first-year head coach in program history. It's significant. And I think that obviously it was a disappointing thing for the team that they missed the NCAA tournament, but they got the number one overall seed in this bracket, the WBIT, and they've made the most of their opportunity, and now they're 2 games away from having a chance to win a championship and get an opportunity to hang a banner.
So tell us who to watch out for.
Top player is Delaney Gibb. She's from Alberta, Canada, but she has strong connections to the state of Utah, and she has been an excellent player for BYU. She's a first-team All Big 12 player. She's in her sophomore season. Last year, she was one of the top freshmen in all of women's college basketball. She's an excellent scorer, good passer, and just overall, all-around talented athlete. And she has the potential to be one of the great players in the history of the program. If her career continues to level up, she's still got 2 years remaining in her collegiate career. So she's been excellent for BYU, and she's the player to watch on this team.
Okay, I understand they play today. Who do they play, and what does this matchup look like?
They play the Kansas Jayhawks, a fellow Big 12 team, and they played Kansas earlier this year, and they were blown out by Kansas on the road. And this game will be in Wichita, Kansas, so you would assume the Jayhawks are probably going to have a few more fans than I would assume BYU in this game. But, Kansas is a solid team as well, but BYU has been playing at a high level since late February. They've been, they've won 5 of their last 6 games, and they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. The key for BYU is going to be limiting the turnovers. That's been an area where this team has had some struggles. So if they can value the basketball and take care of possessions, they'll have a chance to win this game and advance to the WBIT championship.
We often talk about the men and their fan base. What's the fan base for the BYU women?
It's growing, and that's something that has to be, I think, an area of focus for BYU's athletic department, because you look at BYU sports beyond football and men's basketball, they have solid followings with the women's soccer program, track and field, the men's and women's volleyball teams. Women's basketball sometimes gets a little bit overlooked because they play typically on the same days as the men. So, BYU women's basketball typically is played on Sundays, and BYU, of course, doesn't do that. So it creates a situation where the men and women, sometimes will play on the same day and the men get all the spotlight. But there's a real opportunity for BYU to continue to grow women's basketball followings with obviously the alums and then also just the fans too. And you've seen signs of that at some of the recent home games. They had more than 3,500 fans at the Marriott Center for their win over Stanford last week. With how much women's basketball is growing, BYU has to, I think, have a little more strategy involved in growing the following, because I think there's a real opportunity, one, for revenue for them, but also just because the product's getting better. And that's an area where head coach Lee Kumard has even acknowledged that he wants to continue to try to grow this fan base, because it's been really untapped opportunity that has been often overlooked. And I think they're a program that's on the rise going forward.
All right. Anything else people should know about today's game?
If they win, they'll get a chance to go to the WBIT championship, which would be 2 days later in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, the Cougars face Big 12 foe Kansas in the tournament semifinals today, about 40 minutes from now at 3 o'clock. With thousands more troops now in the Middle East, could we be watching an intensification of the war with Iran, or is it all part of a negotiation? We'll go in depth on that after the break, but first it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
Again, it's emergency traffic northbound I-15 in American Fork. It's a semi-tractor trailer that caught fire. This is just prior to Pioneer Crossing. The right lane remains blocked, and traffic is backed up clear into the Linden area. If you're not on I-15 in that area, I would recommend not getting on the freeway. The on-ramps are really clogged up, so you would be better off using State Street or another alternate. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
We've really slowed down.
Much calmer.
Very quiet.
Ovation Homes, single-level living with fewer obstacles and more opportunities. You never have to act your age at Ovation Homes. To learn more about your next home, find a community, or speak to an Ovation specialist, visit OvationHomesUtah.com. That's OvationHomesUtah.com.
Let's be responsible.
Yeah, absolutely.
That counts.
Safe, secure, and built for comfort, with locations in Syracuse, West Point, and Layton. Downsize without compromise, with a home that truly fits your lifestyle. To learn more and see all the amenities, visit OvationHomesUtah.com. That's ovationhomesutah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
So as you can see here, the standard deviation compared to the beta tells a whole different story, which of course makes your Sortino ratios off the charts. I mean, where else can you find that geometric adhesion? Naturally, if the ex-dividend date hadn't passed, we'd be even better off, but aligning that with the quantitative technicals, you can see that the risk premium is dictating the pricing models we're currently following, which is really messed with our alpha numbers, but the PE ratios suggest
Yeah, keep going. I'm with you. Sometimes you just need straight common sense talk about your retirement. The Tax-Free Retirement Show, Saturday afternoons at 5.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Amanda, every business needs IT help. And sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't. Or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The war in Iran now passing the 1-month mark. Thousands have died in Iran and Lebanon, but U.S. troops have been harmed too. Now thousands more service members have been sent to the region. Iranian leaders say they are preparing for an invasion, with the country's parliament leader vowing to rain fire on the U.S. should our military forces move forward. When asked about whether the U.S. is considering ramping up military operations, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said this today.
The president is focused on achieving the objectives of Operation Epic Fury. With respect to forces that are on the ground in the Middle East, it's the job of the Pentagon to create maximum optionality for the commander-in-chief. It does not mean the president has made any additional decisions.
So with those thousands of additional troops now in the region, what could they be used for? Let's go in depth with News Nation's senior national security contributor, retired Air Force Lieutenant General Richard Newton. General, let's talk about the increasing number of troops in the region. First of all, thanks for being with me.
Hey, Maria, good to be with you, and happy Monday afternoon.
So what do you think of this development? What do you make of it?
Well, let's first talk about the ground troops that are either en route or already assigned to Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of U.S. Central Command. First, what we're seeing is the arrival of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit on board the USS Tripoli. That also includes, by the way, a squadron of F-35 strike fighters and so forth. That's about 2,500 Marines, and they will provide, as Karen Leavitt was discussing at the presser earlier today, with regard to additional options for the president and for the president or for Admiral Cooper to employ. So that's number one. There's also another amphibious readiness group that's coming out of San Diego. It's USS Boxer, will arrive in about 2 weeks. And so that is adding options, additional options, as well as the 82nd Airborne. I believe what that will pertain to, however, is it could be very limited ground forces involved with perhaps taking Carg Island, which is the essential island that's just to the northwest in the Persian Gulf, about 300 miles from the Strait of Hormuz. That is really the essential element of, frankly, not only just Iran's their energy capabilities, but their entire economy. And so there could be other options for the president to use and move forward with, but we're still probably several days, if not weeks, away from that contingency.
So what does this look like how do you move this many people across the world? What goes into planning and operations like that?
It is extraordinary level of effort to plan, and that is already in stated plans, war plans that, as we say, are on the shelf but now are being employed. It takes also, Maria, not just planning beforehand, but during the conflict, and we're seeing this play out in the campaign that is jointly engaged with not only the United States but Israel as well, with adaptability. We had planned for but not had really encountered until the Iranians threatened the Strait of Hormuz, and that's why it stymied global shipping across the strait, for instance. Plans are already in existence to address that, but then based on certain conditions, you have to adapt with new additions to the plans and so forth. And so that's why you're seeing Admiral Cooper, the commander of U.S. Central Command, adapting. We've already gained complete air dominance over Iran, which is about 2.5 times the size of Texas. Now he's striving to achieve entire maritime dominance in the Persian Gulf area specifically. But he's also, once those ground forces arrive, it'll just give him more options that could be based on current plannings or what I call adaptive planning to engage the Iranian regime.
Originally, the president had said he didn't want any ground forces. He didn't want forces on the ground. What changed? Is it that the Strait of Hormuz and what's been happening there with the Iran's warnings?
Absolutely. And, Iran is using what I would refer to asymmetric warfare. They're using things such as their ballistic missiles, their drones, but they're also using economic warfare to threaten commercial shipping to go through the strait. And so it's not as if they actually maintain a military control of the strait, but they maintain this threat to commercial shipping, which really compels shippers, cargo ships, could be obviously liquid natural gas, oilers, and so forth, from not wanting to be threatened by those onshore drones, those sea mines that Iran can employ, underground or undersea rather, drones and so forth, which really threaten shipping. And therefore, what that also compels is the insurers of those ships won't provide the insurance for them to go across. So the threat of being attacked by an Iranian drone has really heightened the tension there, which now is compelling almost global economic shipping to almost come to a standstill in and around the strait.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for getting us up to date.
Thank you, Marie. Good to be with you.
As retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton joining me. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Investigators in Utah County working to identify human remains found in the mountains above Springville. The news bringing a bit of heartache for families of missing loved ones. A few local ski resorts pushing on despite the warm start to spring. And KSL traffic, Michelle.
Emergency traffic continues northbound I-15 in American Fork. Delays still backing into Linden. Maria?
KSL's top local story, and it is breaking news. A new wildfire has started west of Yuba Reservoir. Utah Fire Info reports the River Ranch fire is only about 20 acres right now, but that it's quickly spreading and structures are threatened. We'll continue to track it for you and bring you updates as we get them. Other local stories KSL is following. The Salt Lake City FBI says a search ended in a massive drug bust, but one former agent says this may not be the victory that we think it is. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has the story.
The Wasatch Narcotics Strike Force says they seized 240,000 fentanyl pills in one go, tucked inside boxed-up furniture. That's enough to give every single resident of Salt Lake City one pill and still have over 20,000 left. You'd think this is a crushing blow to the drug trade. However, former FBI agent Greg Rogers says this is barely a glancing blow. He says the only way to fight the drug trade is education.
Parents need to spend a whole lot of time talking to their kids about this stuff and telling them how dangerous it is and really using their influence, because fentanyl, one mistake is all it takes.
Rogers says as long as the business remains profitable, cartels will continue to make drugs. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Talks are underway to expand the Salt Lake County Metro Jail a year and a half after voters rejected a bond to do so. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce reports.
Sheriff Rosie Rivera compiled the info to present to the Salt Lake County Council tomorrow as they assess how to pay for a jail expansion, which voters rejected in 2024. Legislation helped free up bed space in Salt Lake County jails in the last year, but it also ended the practice of overcrowding releases, meaning that people who are booked tend to stay longer. According to the numbers, that also means the increased capacity was basically filled up as soon as it was available. For example, about a third of the jail's population is homeless. Before, some of them might have been released for overcrowding. Now they can't be. The discussions are in the early stages. Documents attached to tomorrow's meeting agenda show one likely option is a lease revenue bond, which would not have to go through voters, but could eventually mean a need for more property tax revenue to pay the bills. Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow at the close up by 49 points, sitting at 45,216. S&P, though, down by 25 points. The NASDAQ down by 0.75%, down 154 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Michelle?
Still looking at emergency traffic situation for drivers making their way northbound I-15 approaching Pioneer Crossing. A semi-tractor trailer caught fire a while ago, and they had all but the two left lanes blocked. Now only the right lane remains closed, but the damage is done. Delays are still backing into the Linden area. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Today is the warm day of the week with a high of 74. The temperature, though, dropping throughout the week down to 49 for a high by Friday. 60% chance of showers tomorrow and a 90% chance on Wednesday. 73 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Ugh. Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit of federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Investigators now working to identify human remains found in a remote area in the mountains above Springville. The discovery over the weekend bringing a mix of feelings and emotions for families who are still searching for missing loved ones. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joined me with how this whole thing started.
This started with a pretty unusual discovery. Deputies say someone riding a horse in the mountains above Springville came across what looked like human remains, but because it's so remote, they couldn't call it in right away. because they didn't have cell service out there. So once they got back into range, they did call 911, and investigators hiked in the next morning and did confirm those are human remains. So right now, the big question is identity, and that's what investigators are working to figure out.
Well, I just can't imagine how victims' families react to news like this when they have someone who's missing. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. You know, moments like this can be incredibly emotional, you can imagine, right? For families who've been waiting for answers about a missing loved one. So I hit up Brock Best, Executive Director of Utah Homicide Survivors, and asked what goes through their clients' minds, right, when this happens. He told me there's really no one way families react to something like this.
I know we have some families that would love to get a call like that, and love might be a strong term, but would look forward to it because it would allow the next steps in the process of either legal closure or emotional closure. Some cases, without a body or any remains, it's difficult to figure out what actually happened to their loved one. And others, it can act as a form of re-traumatization, bring up a lot of chaotic mixture of feelings of grief, trauma, and then for some, being forced to face a reality that none of us should ever have to face. You then become part of a club that no one wants to be a member of.
And I think that's the powerful part to remember, right, is that before answers even come, there's a lot of emotion tied to these moments. He also gave advice to the families who hear this to not be afraid to lean on your circle.
The best resource, the biggest thing is their own loved ones. They need to turn to each other. They need to be supports for each other. I think really the biggest thing that I've noticed, and what fascinates me and is the most inspiring thing in this job, is seeing how families come together to work through whatever they need to. But it's always having those shoulders to cry on and those arms to lift them up. And then in terms of trying to navigate everything, obviously finding an organization like Utah Homicide Survivors, we try and do anything and everything we can for these families. So while they can just focus on helping each other and going through the grief that they need to and trying to build again, we can help take all the not so fun, mundane, legal and other issues that pop up and just allow them to focus on each other.
Okay, Eric, get us up to date on the investigation. Have we learned any new information?
Not yet. So investigators say this is still very much active. They're continuing to search the area as conditions allow, and the remains will be examined by the state medical examiner to try to confirm identity and cause of death. So right now it's still very early and a lot of unanswered questions.
And that is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera there. We're still trying to get more answers from the Utah County Sheriff about the finding, and we will bring you the latest updates as we get them on air, online, and on the KSL News Radio app. While the weather might be getting a little cooler over the next few days, the warmer winter and hot start to spring have forced many ski resorts in the state to close early. But in the Cottonwoods, Snowbird and Alta plan to keep the runs, running for a while longer. KSL's Tyrese Boone reports.
Warmer temperatures are forcing some Utah ski resorts to close quickly, but Alta and Snowbird and Little Cottonwood Canyon are holding on with higher elevation and deeper snowpacks. Many skiers like 16-year-old Asher Blaisdell from Virginia are still making their way to the slopes for a final run before the season ends.
When we got there, we saw the mountain, and it's mostly dirt up there, except for, I think, maybe like a third or fourth of the runs are open.
Luckily, Asher and his family were able to head over to Cottonwood Canyon and get some snow time here.
It's a little disappointing to come out here and not have the full experience, but I mean, we're gonna make the most of it, and I'm very excited to be here.
And that's why many skiers are choosing resorts like Alta and Snowbird, which are still fully operational despite the warm spring weather. Experts say a mix of snow maintenance, elevation, and favorable environmental conditions has helped these resorts maintain their slopes longer than others in the state.
Honestly, the Cottonwoods have really held their snowpack really, really well, thanks to elevation and the north-facing aspects. And so we're super excited to have people out here this spring.
As for the Cottonwood Canyon resorts, Alta plans to stay open until April the 26th, and Snowbird will remain open until May the 25th. Reporting from Cottonwood Canyon, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News.
Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Only one type of burger.
For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Some stories are written in ink, others are written in the heart. Experience the romance and the legend of Titanic, the exhibition, now open in Sandy. Stroll the promenade under a starry sky, stand before the grand staircase, and connect with true stories of love and heroism that have captivated the world for over a century. Discover a date night or a family outing unlike any other. Tickets are moving fast. Book yours at titanicexhibition.com. Titanic, the exhibition, at the shops at Southtown and Sandy.
For the first time in more than 40 days, TSA agents around the country are finally getting paid. It's thanks to an order signed by President Trump, but the pay won't last until Congress acts. And with lawmakers now on break for the next 2 weeks, there's no certainty when a budget for the full Department of Homeland Security will be passed. News Nation's Trevor Shirley has more.
With Congress on recess, President Donald Trump says lawmakers in his own party need to get tough.
They're playing it too soft. The Republicans are wonderful people, but we're dealing with very sick individuals. The Democrats are sick.
Some lawmakers say it's time for Congress to cut their 2-week recess short, come back to Washington, and work out a deal to fund DHS. TSA workers are now getting paid.
We're going to pay them for as long as we have to.
But thousands of others at agencies under DHS, like the Coast Guard and Secret Service, are not. Some lawmakers question why President Trump waited so long to pay TSA workers by executive order.
Why didn't he do this weeks ago?
Last week in the Senate, Democrats and Republicans agreed to fund the Department of Homeland Security without additional funding for ICE and Border Patrol. House Republicans rejected that plan Friday, instead voting to fund the entire Department of Homeland Security for 60 days. But Democrats say that plan won't pass the Senate, where 7 Democrats would need to vote for it.
Our position is very simply, we want ICE to act like the police force that they are.
It's unclear if lawmakers would actually cut short their 2-week recess, meaning in all likelihood this shutdown will continue for at least another few weeks. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
Let's start first with TSA. Thousands of workers will finally get a paycheck today, but union leaders for TSA say it's not enough. They are among those calling for Congress to come back to Washington ASAP and pass a full funding bill. Secretary-Treasurer of the union representing TSA workers, Johnny Jones.
Our legislative branch of our government has failed the American people across all spectrums. They are at home packing up their Easter eggs for their family, and a lot of TSA officers won't have money. And a lot of the people that work for the Department of Homeland Security aren't going to have the money to buy candy for their kids. And they're not going to go out there and I'm going to go find some addresses and tell my kids, hey, go find some of those Easter eggs because they're the ones that got all your money. So there needs to be, these guys need to be back on a plane, back in D.C., do their jobs, uphold their oath to the Constitution, just like all of us at TSA and other parts of DHS.
Jones tells CNN that a paycheck is nice, but they deserve more, especially considering the financial hardships many TSA workers found themselves in thanks to this shutdown.
A lot of people have incurred debts over the time and, like the late fees and all those things don't go away. So you don't get compensated for those issues. That's the reason why we've been out pushing like, hey, everybody needs like a $10,000 bonus just so they could fix their lives, because this has been a catastrophe. TSA officers have been used as political pawns in other parts of the department, and the damage to the TSA officer is not going to be magically fixed by just giving us our back pay. We have totally taken on tremendous amounts of debt on the behalf of the American people.
Johnny Jones is the Secretary-Treasurer of the union representing TSA workers. The fight over long-term funding for TSA and other DHS agency continues to be controversial and complicated. Senators worked round the clock last week to get their proposal passed, but it died in the House, with the GOP majority proposing something else. The president signed an order last week to ensure TSA workers get a paycheck today, but it only applies to TSA workers. It doesn't help other parts of the Department of Homeland Security who are unfunded. ABC's Selena Wang explains.
We're just talking about TSA workers, but there are tens of thousands of other workers, including with FEMA, Coast Guard personnel, who are going to continue to go without pay. And there are workers I've been speaking to, as well as lawmakers who have been talking on the Sunday shows, who say, look, if the president had the authority to do this all along, why did he wait until now to make sure that these workers are paid?
President Trump has said he has the emergency authority to spend money for TSA. And the question I have is, why didn't he use that 45 days ago?
And not to mention, even with back pay coming, many are going to continue to struggle because of penalties and late fees that they've accumulated over the past several weeks. Remember, a lot of these people live paycheck to paycheck.
Still a lot of outstanding questions right now over future funding for TSA, making it harder for many to plan long term. Are you in the market for an electric vehicle? After the break, how the used EV market is growing while the new EV market is shrinking. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Michelle?
Still emergency traffic for drivers in Utah County, northbound I-15 approaching Pioneer Crossing in American Fork. They just pulled away with the big rig that caught fire, which started this whole thing, but they still have the right lane blocked in that area. Looks like there possibly could be some road damage in that area. I'm not sure, but they're still working on it. If you are not on I-15, I would recommend not getting on I-15 because the delays are still backing to about 1600 north, 800 north in Orem, in that area. And so State Street may be a better alternate as they're working on getting this taken care of. Once you get past that, you're seeing good speeds to downtown. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, that's on the Jewel Box stage, and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now, hct.org. Don't miss the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Looking for something fun to win this week? Head to ksl.com/win and enter now. We're giving you the chance to score tickets to the Disney Worlds Collide concert tour, rock out at the Guess Who tour, or visit Titanic the exhibition for a walk through history. It's quick, easy, and free to enter. So don't miss out. Visit ksl.com/win today and see what you could be winning this week. ksl.com/win. Good luck.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let them know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security, Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We'll rope it up.
Cause we know how to jump. Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Nordic Valley Ski Resort has received approval to expand into a 4-season destination. Construction is expected to begin in 2027. The Utah Foundation's Sean Tigan says it's a massive project.
The idea is that they will look at really expanding in terms of commercial building space. So they'll have a lot of square footage of building space. They'll have over 400 condos. They'll have over 150 chalets. They'll have over 200 hotel rooms, and then they'll have some employee housing as well. And there's also they have a big expansion in terms of for like winter sports. Like they're looking at expanding with 12 ski lifts and some gondolas. And then things like a mountain coaster and zip line and some other trails, so you can get people up there just in the winter, but more often in the summer with perhaps mountain biking and hiking and zip lines and that sort of thing. So it's a really a huge expansion from the amenities that you currently find at Nordic Valley. So this Nordic Valley Village is going to be a lot of housing, a lot of commercial space, a lot of hotel rooms. It comes with employee housing because you're going to need more employees up there. But then just really a lot of amenities for all seasons.
Tigan tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez the Utah Foundation is helping the resort conduct research on how this will affect the local economy.
It's a big project. It would take about 6 years, but it would come. What would come with it would be a lot of jobs, both during the construction phase and ongoing, and really some economic benefit to the community and the state. So in the community, you see, particularly during construction, you see more income tax coming in because you've got some higher incomes and some jobs that are created there. But then going forward, you really see a lot of property taxes, and that's both residential property taxes from all the homes and whatnot that are going to be built up there, but also some commercial property taxes because you're just going to have a bigger resort and a lot more amenities, and so that's going to increase the value quite a bit of the overall resort. So they'll be paying more in taxes, and those property taxes, that really support the local community in a big way.
Tigan says the development will contribute over 1,300 jobs to that particular area. Researchers are learning more about the behavior of sperm whales from rare footage of a whale giving birth. The video providing insight into the behavior of these large, elusive animals. Project SETI lead biologist Shane Guerrero tells the Associated Press footage of the birth shows how the whales work together during critical moments.
It was way more active than I think I had considered what a sperm whale birth might look like. And all these animals sort of actively diving under and lifting the calf into the air onto their backs or their noses. Sets of 2 or 3 or 4 animals doing it at the same time. It was unbelievable. I mean, we had been there for almost an hour at that point when delivery happened and the little one showed up and that first little bloop of the head came up and out of the water. And the boat had been silent, and they weren't that far away, maybe a few hundred meters initially, but then they came and swam right by the boat, lifting the calf out of the water. I mean, it was incredible. Never before have we had all of this technology to record from the air on a drone, to record from underwater using underwater microphones. All of the details of the interactions between the animals during a birth, who was supporting the mom, who physically lifted the baby, and how they were related, because we've known this family of sperm whales for the last 20 years, right? So it wasn't just animal A touching animal B. We knew that it was the grandmother supporting the mother during the labor process.
Until now, there have only been a handful of records about sperm whale births, and those coming mainly from witnesses on whaling boats. A changing political landscape contributing to a decrease in sales of electric vehicles. But the used EV market is actually growing. ABC tech reporter Mike Dubusky explains in this edition of Tech Trends.
Sales of new electric vehicles have slumped in the months since the federal government's EV tax incentive expired last fall.
A lot of EVs, they're nice, they're new, they have a ton of technology, they're expensive.
But Edmunds.com lead insights analyst Jessica Caldwell says when it comes to used EVs, it's a much different story. She says the market is about to be flooded with depreciated electric vehicles that are just a few years old.
We expect to see more electric vehicles come back off of lease, so they'll be 3 years old.
Cox Automotive estimates sales of used EVs are already up 17% this quarter when compared to last. Meanwhile, in the new vehicle space, EV sales were down 9% from last quarter. Caldwell says it comes as interest in EVs on her platform has ticked up recently amid rising gas prices.
Because you're going to have the research done first, and then purchases usually follow a few months later when people are ready to actually put their money down and buy the vehicle.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
And thanks for joining me today for Midday. Jeff Kaplan is here. That means Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news is coming up next. What have you got for us today?
10,000 immigrants in this ICE detention facility. That's what Mayor Erin Mendenhall says. 7,500 to 10,000 people in that warehouse.
Stay with Jeff for more on that. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.